Hey, what is happening, everyone? Welcome to the Lifting Ugly podcast. Today's podcast, a couple of different things. One, it will last as long as my battery holds up because I forgot to bring my charging cord with me. So, as long as I have power, we will be rolling. And number two, I will be flying solo again for the duration because, despite how glamorous our lives may look while we're here doing this so productive podcast, the riches and the fame that it appears as though we have, we have to work for those things. So it's not all just, we can't just go out and not have to worry about anything. We still got to go to work. So Alkai is busy this week. He is training for a new position, a new job, so that he can make some money. So we wish him well as he suffers training for his new job in Hawaii, because, that's tough to do. To hang out in Hawaii for a week and learn how to work a new position. So he hopefully will be with us this next weekend. I was trying to delay this one enough to try and get him on, but it didn't work out. So on we go. We'll make the best of what we got. I did throw up on Instagram to have a few suggestions out there, and in true fashion of our social media, I got an overwhelming response of 3 different things. So we'll cover all 3 of those things. We'll cover the 2 things, and then we will have a guest that will call in that will actually be pretty cool. So it's a nice unexpected event that will take place. And so we will be talking to Tim, right? Tim we're talking to. Where are we talking to? Yeah, Tim. So Tim will be on the podcast. And if anyone's wondering why Tim is on the podcast, 1, because Tim wanted to be on the podcast. And number 2, because I think there's a cool story there that we can all learn from and we can take away and use in our personal everyday lives to make ourselves better for the world. And if it's something this world needs, it's for us to be better and to quit fucking bitching about every little thing that comes our way. Shit ain't that bad. My guess is however bad we think our life is, it's really not that bad in comparison. So quit complaining, quit finding shit to be upset about, and we'll move on with our lives. Smile at somebody, say what's up, little head nod, something. Make somebody's day a little bit better. You don't know what kind of day somebody's having. It could be all they need. Someone's being nice to them. So, anyway, I had a direction I was going to go. I lost my train of thought. So anyway, we'll have him on. I'll be calling him here in a little while, and then we'll go over that, and then we will revisit. I'm going to go back over a couple of things that we've talked about the last couple of weeks, and just kind of maybe dive into them a little bit more, if possible. First, let's start with, I guess I should introduce myself again. Welcome to the Lifting Ugly podcast. My name is Craig Bird, as is here on the screen. Beep, right there. That's me. You can get a hold of me if you want to get a hold of me on any of the social media platforms. You may do so by going to @lifting_ugly on Instagram. You can search Lift or Lifting Ugly on Facebook or any other social media platform, and you'll be able to get a hold of me there. We should pop up just about anywhere you're hoping to find us or want to find us. Our live stream if you are unaware, is available on Facebook as it goes out, through Twitch, and through YouTube. And then I download and then upload back to all the audio streaming services. Still trying to figure out Apple. So if you use Apple, use something else, because Apple's a pain in the ass and they kind of suck. I am coming to you live and in person from Monument Fitness Gym in Grand Junction, Colorado. You can visit Monument Fitness on the old Instagram at monument.fitness. Check us out there. If you're ever in the Grand Junction area and want to stop in and get a lift, let me know. I'll do what I can to get you in, and maybe we can you can check us out, see what the gym here is all about. And so speaking of our gym, Monument Fitness, I actually did last week. I went and looked at a new location to check out that popped up. A couple people told me about. Nice little sweet warehouse spot, just empty facility, and just 4 walls, high ceiling, concrete floor. Pretty much perfect, everything you'd want for the style of gym we're looking for. Problem is, it's a little too empty, and there would be some extra costs associated with it on top of paying for it, which would be there is no cooling system. And for those of you who are listening that may not be too familiar with the Colorado area, yes, Denver is the mile high city, and it is a mile in the air. The 2 parts to that, it still gets fucking hot there. And number 2, we are not in Denver. I am on the other side of the state, and we are closer to sea level where it gets hotter. So needless to say, we do need some sort of cooling, especially in a gym. Otherwise, when it gets up in those hundreds or even in the 90s, shit, in a tin building like that, nobody want to be around there working out for too long, dealing with that nonsense. So cooling system would need to be taken care of, which isn't I shouldn't say it's not a huge deal. It's fucking expensive to take care of. But on top of that, there's also need to be bathrooms that would be put in. And that, my friends, is where the biggest problem would lie. The drainage and the build out of that would be a little tough to kind of get by. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like that's going to work. The cooling system is just a little too much. The guy's getting rid of it. That's there now is getting rid of his big old shop cooler that he's got. And, I was thinking about just letting everyone suffer in the heat, getting a couple porta potties and calling it good. That was kicked around for a day or two. I don't think that it'll pan out. So as we're looking, Monument Fitness will stay Monument Fitness. Monument Fitness will stay in the building it's in. We may do some readjustments, but we will be here for the time being. If we do ever move, this name over here in the corner will change. It will no longer be Monument Fitness because it will be something much better that I like more so than Monument Fitness. Love the gym. Love the people here. Hate the name of it. Always hated the name of it. All right. And as we move on, are you in need of support? Support during your lifts? Do you feel like you're being let down? That you just don't have what you need to be successful? Then, my friends, you need to go visit generalleathercraft.com. At generalleathercraft.com, you can find all the lifting support gear that your little heart desires. Well, soon to be. The best lifting belts on the planet are available from Pioneer Lifting at generalleathercraft.com. Custom made, custom colors, custom designs, lettering, pictures, all that shit. It's all up to you, however in-depth you want it to be. I haven't seen much that they can't take care of. So make sure you go on there, mess around with some ideas. You can check out the stock belts that they have, the Pioneer cuts. They've got lifting straps, knee wraps. Elbow sleeves are in testing phase, I believe. So we're looking forward to those to be coming out. So all that supportive gear that you need, wrist wraps, etc. If you're a golfer out there in the world, then you can also get some golf club head covers. They got some cool shit. So go check out generalleathercraft.com and make sure you at least pick up a nice supportive belt for all those big lifts that you're going to be attempting here soon. Anything else, any of your other lifting needs, make sure you check out our friends at Max Barbell. MaxBarbell.com is where we get our singlets that we are printing our Lifting Ugly logos on. It is where hopefully eventually I'll be able to get the socks, our deadlift socks, that we'll be able to put the Lifting Ugly logo on as well. Other than that, I have bought my 2 pairs of Sabo shoes from there. I have Sabo lifts for squats that I'll use sometimes, and then I have my high top deadlift shoes, both of which I absolutely love, and would suggest that if anyone is interested in such supportive lifting shoes as those, to make sure to go to maxbarbell.com and check those out. Speaking of my friends, speaking of deadlift socks, anyone who follows the Instagram page may have seen, and I just put it as a story. I don't think I did it as a post necessarily, but you may have seen it. New shirt that I was kind of kicking around, and it is officially up on the website. I do like this one actually quite a bit. So anyone who didn't see it, or if you did see it and you're not sure what it's about, let me give you the rundown here. So it is based off of the Boston Red Sox baseball team theme. I did have some Boston Red Sox fans that wanted me to do something that was Red Sox related. So I figured, did some brainstorming and came up with this here splendid idea. So let me bring this up and share it with all of you here. And here we go. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. Is that a little bit better? Maybe there. All right, so as you can see, instead of Boston Red Sox, we do have the Lifting Ugly Dead Socks. We do have the nice Lifting Ugly face that is also attached to the socks. So they are not red. They are red socks. I mean, as you can see, the color of the socks is red, but they are not the Red Sox. They are the Dead Socks for all your deadlifting needs from Lifting Ugly. So make sure you go to let's see how quick I can move through this. Bam, bam, bam. Go to liftingugly.com so that you can get your hands on one of our many designs that we have there, and also the new Lifting Ugly Dead Socks shirt that is now available at the Lifting Ugly website, liftingugly.com. Other things that we have. Hold on. I have to answer a text. The wife texts me, so I have to answer her real quick so that I don't get in trouble. So anyone wants to know, she's asking me if I have the leaf blower. And I do have the leaf blower because I was blowing off the mats outside of the gym. And I know this is super intriguing and like you guys just really wanted to hear it. And it's really motivating. So I just wanted to give you the play-by-play of how that's going. So also available at the liftingugly.com on the website are all the other shirts, shorts, hats that you can, Lifting Ugly that you can find on the website, shirts. We have banners such as the one back here behind me. And we you can get online coaching from either myself or from Alkai. That is available on there as well. You can do one-time donations. So if you are a fan of the podcast or anything that we are doing on Lifting Ugly, you can do single-time donations on the website as well. the other way that you can do that. So make sure you check out liftingugly.com. Go do it. I'm kind of partial, so I'm going to say it's a pretty cool website. But then again, I handle most of the shirts and everything on there. So of course I think it's a good website. Oh, you can also get this nice Dungeons and Deadlift shirt again that I am wearing. As you may notice, I wear the same shirts a lot. That's because I may have a lot of shirts, but I have about 6 shirts at best that I wear in rotation. So they land on podcast days pretty steadily. So I do have other shirts. I like to represent as much as I possibly can. So also for you the fans, are tens and tens of fans that are out there in the world. You can go to patreon.com/liftingugly, and what you will find there are different tiers of support that you can join. There's basic ones that are really cheap every month, up to some that are a little bit more expensive that may get you some attaboys, if nothing else, by subscribing to those. But any support is always greatly appreciated. Like I said, we're not self-made. We both work many jobs, many businesses to keep things afloat, as well as do this because we have fun doing it, and we hope everyone else enjoys it as well, which is why we do it. We love giving back to athletes at the meets. All that stuff is just, we really enjoy, love being a part of the community. And so it gives us that opportunity. And that's the main reason why we do it. It is definitely not to make money, because if that was the case, we would be failing miserably. Right. So we did have an upcoming event in August that would be the Clash of the 80s. It is still, the event, as far as I know, is still going off. I unfortunately have to inform anyone. We will not be able to follow through with actually being a sponsor of that event. Things are too crazy, too much travel expense. And I just can't justify that at this point. After the last meet and the last couple of sponsorships, it's tough to do. It's tough to bring that. So as much as we'd love to be a part of that, I just don't think we're going to be able to. I'll be traveling the weekend before to Denver for the whatever it's called. The one that's at Eat On Fitness in Denver, powerlifting event that Shelby will be doing. I'll be there. But I won't be able to travel back the very next weekend. It's just too much, folks. I just can't do it all. I'm going to drive myself mad trying to get this shit all taken care of. I try. Believe me, I try. All right. And if you would like to go bother Alkai, you can do so on his 2 Instagram pages. One of them is at Pico Powerlifting. That's at PIKO_powerlifting. The other one is at bellies_out_benching. You can send him all kinds of messages or whatever you want to do. See what he's up to. Whatever floats your boat. Just go have at him. He'll appreciate it. Tell him how fine everything was without him. We don't need him around here. He can go do his hoity-toity new job and hang out in Hawaii and not be a part of our community anymore. Good. Gone. We don't need you here anymore. Just go home. What are you, too good for your home? All that. Just some ideas anyway. Just kicking things around. All right. So, like I said, I had asked a question on Instagram not too long ago. To be honest, there's a lot of stuff going on. Like I talked about the gym, that occupies a lot of my brain power and a lot of my thoughts, and so some things fall by the wayside. So I did ask the question, and I did get one, not just one, but I got a few different responses. So one good question I wanted to talk about is any takeaways that I had from volunteering at the Special Olympics. We did talk a little bit about the Special Olympics last week. We talk about it a pretty decent amount. And if Nicole's still on, she can add her 2 cents since she was there for a little while as well. I don't know. It's as far as what I took away from it is that as bad as this sounds, I really wish that I had their mindset when it comes to lifting. Just because one of the big things, there was, okay, so all this is going to sound terrible. Terrible. I'm going to say it anyway, because anyone who is of my age or close to it will know better. You used to always, people had just this superhuman strength base. Let's just call it superhuman strength. Anyone who knows, but we're just going to call it superhuman strength. What appears to be superhuman strength. And it's not because they're stronger or because, that they have more power than any of us can generate. It's because of where their mind is at. And that's what I want. That's what I would love to have. The takeaway the biggest thing I took away is that I'm kind of envious when it comes to lifting, how they can they don't care. They don't care about the lift. They care, but they don't care. If they fail it, they fail it. If they're successful, great. If they're not, who cares? But they'll try regardless. They're not second guessing themselves every time they go up there. And I mean, these are people that a lot of them can't just walk up and set and do the movement. There's a lot of finagling of hands, feet, and hips, everything to get into position to be able to do this stuff. And they just walk up, pick up the bar, they press the bar, whatever the case is, and they just do it. There's no fear of failure. And to be able to have that, I think would just be amazing. I mean, I don't know where like my lifting would be if I could bring my mind to that, if I could just not have that fear of failure. Because there's every week. I mean, last week I was doing squats. I was warming up and I got to a warm-up weight and I'm like, man, that feels really heavy. I can't go any higher than that. I'm just going to do reps here. And so I cut myself short. Why? Because I had a fear of failure. I had a fear of not being able to do it. I've had a fear of hurting myself. And I probably wouldn't have. I probably wouldn't have failed. I probably wouldn't have hurt myself. It would have just been a little more difficult. But I probably could have got through it just fine. But my mind gets in the way. And so that's one of the biggest things I took away. Obviously, people with any physical disabilities that make it difficult for them to lift is a huge, it's inspirational to say the least. And it just doesn't matter. Nicole says they have no limitations. They are so positive and happy. And that's the truth. They failed lifts. I mean, they not to say they were all just happy all the time. There were some that failed lifts and they were upset about it. They knew what they were capable of and they weren't happy that they failed lifts. But they were quick to turn around and hug one of their teammates, hug one of the other competitors, high fives, cheer them on, yell and scream for them. So regardless of how they felt about their own lift, if they were upset about it at all, it didn't last long because they were moving right along to make sure they supported, the next person that was up. And you'll see that to a pretty good extent at a regular powerlifting meet as well. I mean, so that's one of the big draws to powerlifting is you do get that kind of camaraderie, not to the level that they have. Again, their mind, the limitations that they don't have the limitations. Like we think that there are limitations on their mental capacity, but in fact, we're the ones who put the limitations on our own mental capacity that keep us from, caring like they care about other people, about not caring about ourselves as much as we are concerned about ourselves. They don't have those limitations that they put on themselves. And so they're able to enjoy themselves so much more than the rest of us are. And so it's really cool to be a part of because you're able to kind of just be a part of their community and be a part of their life for just a little bit of time to where, it doesn't matter. Your lift doesn't matter. Your success doesn't matter. None of that matters because everyone's there having fun. And you have fun right along with them. And so it's a cool experience. So like we talked about, we were part of the powerlifting, part of the Special Olympics. I have watched other parts of the events that did go on that last weekend. And I have to say, if you have the opportunity to volunteer at any of those events, it doesn't have to be a powerlifting. If we are into lifting, it does not have to be powerlifting for you to get a lot out of helping and volunteering with these events. I mean, there's so much to it, and every event brings you, just numerous athletes that can kind of help bring you out of a funk. Really, I mean, because they have it all. Like I look at I'm like, I'm kind of jealous. Like I wish I didn't have to care about a lot of things that I find myself I put way too much energy into. And I wish I could just care more about the people around me and the things that I do and having fun with it and having fun with everything. I wish that I wish I had that. I am actually super jealous that they're able to kind of that they already function that way. I mean, I think that'd be sweet. I mean, that limits you in other things, but shit, who cares? Be happy all the time, not have to worry. I don't know. There's a lot of things I'd trade for that. That's for fucking sure. No. Another part that kind of goes along. I mean, it all kind of goes together. It's all lifting related. We've talked about it in a few different podcast episodes, and that's kind of the post meet blues. It's inevitable. I mean, you have your highest of highs that you go through. You spend X amount of weeks, X amount of months that you're with someone, that you're following somebody's program, that you have a goal, you have a target, and regardless of how spent you are, by the end of it, you get to that meet, you get your numbers. Even if you don't get your numbers, the adrenaline spikes, the spikes, the crashes, all that kind of stuff takes its toll out on you. And then after the fact, you're stuck. You're sitting there waiting. Okay, well, now what? Now what? Now what? What's next? What's next? You want to take your break. You want to have your cool down period because really your body needs it. Your mind needs it to a certain extent. But then you're left wondering, okay, what do I do now? What do I do now? So, as I've discussed before, and I've discussed with my clients, is finding the next goal. You take the time that you need to take. You get your mind right, get your body right. And then as many of us know, if you don't get back on and you don't start doing what it is that that you love doing, you don't find the next goal, you don't start training, that it can drag on for a long time. So just find your focus, refine your focus, and don't what would you say, surrender. Don't surrender to the funk that you will inevitably find yourself falling into. I was discussing about this whole thing, and I was saying it happened to me too, which is funny because I didn't even compete a couple weekends ago. I didn't compete at the Special Olympics. I was there at the Special Olympics, and I was helping out, and I was doing a little bit of the officiating. I was at the meet in South Dakota, helping the girls with their lifting and making sure that they were ready to go and running our booth. But as I thought about it, because I'm like, why the hell am I having like post-meet blues? I didn't lift. I didn't do shit. But I still had those same highs. I had lots of highs. And then when that comes crashing down, I have to deal with that as much as anyone else. So I've dealt with a lot of the same things without the physical, the central nervous system damage that all the competitors inevitably had to deal with. But mentally, mentally it did wear on me, and I've just kind of noticed that this last weekend as everything's really kind of settled in. I'm getting ready for the next stuff in August, but a lot of stuff's kind of come to a head, and I was like, oh shit, now what? What about this? What about this? And then everything suffers because of it, and so it's tough. Competitors go through it. Me as a coach helping clients, found myself going through it, which kind of threw me off. It caught me off guard just a little bit. But I think we can all use each other and kind of get through this stuff. It's you're not, and is it Nicole put stuff about the depression, and you're not like mentally depressed in a way that I think it's more it's not a depression. I would say it's more of it's a mental fatigue, and so just the constant activity, the constant brain activity, the constant mental that it takes to get through the program, to go to compete, and then there's the letdown at the end. There's the crash of it all, where then you don't have any of that you have to worry about. And I just think your brain is super, super fatigued from all those, just the chemical, your chemical makeup is changing. Your hormone levels are up and down and up and down. All that stuff is all affected. And then all of a sudden you get to this point where you can chill out, which we need to do. But in the process, your brain's fried, and you realize your brain's fried. And then it's hard to, you need that kind of that spark to kind of help get it fired up again. It's a pain in the ass. That's what we do it for. We love the discomfort. We love the pain. We love the suffering. And that's what we're all about here. That's why we all come here. That's why we all stay here. That's why we all come back again and again and again. Let's see here. All right, so I am going to give Tim Swanson a call here. Let's see. I'm trying to get my phone to charge as well so that it doesn't die. I have everything's on life support. My brain is on life support. I feel like it's about to cut out anytime soon. My computer is running on straight battery, so I'm hoping it'll last. And my phone is kind of run on the back. So I need to check and make sure it's plugged in the way it's supposed to be. Riveting, edge of your seat programming, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, son of a bitch. Yeah. Fucking cunt. Won't fucking charge. Dirty cocksucker. All right. Here we go. Now we got that taken care of. Let's dial up Tim here. It's ringing.
Hello?
Is this Tim?
Yeah, this is Tim.
Hey, Tim, this is Craig. How's it going?
Doing well. How you doing?
Doing good. So I have you on speaker, and so you're coming through the microphone, I believe. Everyone. The few people that listen live can hear you, I believe.
Okay. All right.
All right. So where are you calling us from?
Parker, Colorado.
Okay, so you're over just on the eastern slope.
Parker is on the south end of Denver. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Southeastern, way eastern of here.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right. So give us a brief rundown of who Tim Swanson is.
So I'm a now master's powerlifter. I'm 46. I'll be 47 in a month. I've been competing since about 2013. I took about a 5-year hiatus and just kind of got back into it here in the last 8 or 10 months. I was training for hypertrophy for the most part, and then just kind of got bit by the barbell bug again and jumped back into it. And then about a month and a half ago, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. I noticed the symptoms about 3 months ago, but as a typical idiot man, I ignored them until I couldn't ignore them anymore.
Right. So, I mean, 3 months of ignoring actually for a guy is that's not too much. I mean, usually we go, could be years that we ignore that kind of stuff.
Well, how it came about, it was kind of alarming. I was sitting at my desk at work, and my left hand just went completely numb, and I lost some motor function in it. And I just kind of dealt with it. I thought I might have pinched a nerve because I've had cervical spinal fusion. So I kind of thought it was like that. And then the day I went to the ER, we have a leather couch, and I sat down in it first thing in the morning to eat breakfast with my shirt off. And it was cold, obviously, because it was first thing in the morning. And it felt like somebody was throwing molten lava on my back. Ooh. Like it was absolutely burning hot, and I had to hop up, and I thought, wow, this isn't right. So I went to the ER, and they gave me kind of a preliminary diagnosis. It's called I have a spinal cord lesion, and it's demyelinating, which means the myelin around the spinal cord is degrading, and my nerves are exposed. So that's because of the nerve stuff. And what I ended up finding out is I have my torso, it's like a temperature reversal. Stuff that's really cold feels like it's burning me.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So it's different. It's an interesting sensation. The pool's not the same anymore.
Right. Well, yeah, you're going to be hopping into a cold pool and just so that you can feel some warmth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at now. I got the diagnosis from a neurologist. Like I said, maybe 3 weeks, a month ago, and so we're just managing it as we can and moving forward.
So, I guess you did a pretty good job explaining what multiple sclerosis is. So, it causes more nerve issues than it does anything else. Is that correct?
Yeah, from my understanding of it, we've done a little research, and obviously, I'm kind of in the early stages of it. If it advances, it can cause some optical issues. It can cause nerve issues and loss of function in other extremities. If it progresses to a more severe stage. But yeah, that's kind of what my understanding of it is and how it's been explained to me.
So, is there? I had a client about a year ago. She was 30 years old that had been diagnosed with MS a couple years before, and a lot of what we worked on was dietary. So have they run over any dietary issues with you or needs?
So I've spoken with some people about that, and according to the MS Society, there's no specific dietary guidance, but you want to eat the healthy way, right? And I already kind of do that. I track my macros. I stay in a caloric maintenance area, so I'm kind of on top of it. I've heard recommendations that like the paleo diet or a Mediterranean diet can be beneficial, but I haven't explored those options yet because I still, I feel pretty good, but if things start to deteriorate and that's an option to keep it at bay, I'll probably explore that more thoroughly.
And so MS is one of those things that there's no cure for it, right?
Yeah, no. So I've seen a neurologist and a neurosurgeon both, and yeah, there's no surgical intervention for it, and at this time there's no cure. Probably in the last 15 years, 20 years, the treatment has come a long way. Mm-hmm. So it's not as debilitating, or you can kind of monitor the progression and take different interventions to kind of slow the progression or keep it where it's at. But yeah, it's not the kind of debilitating symptoms it used to be.
Right.
So that stuff like that's encouraging because medicine is fancy every day.
And so, and I'm sure that because it usually is the case. So keeping obviously healthy diet, I mean, that helps you with everything. So it's going to help keep, degenerating diseases kind of at bay, most likely. But as far as exercise, do they tell you to keep doing what you're doing?
Yeah. So that every single person I've talked to, because I'm a fairly big guy. I'm around 265,
Okay.
But I'm in reasonably good shape. And every person I've talked to at every stage has said, keep doing what you're doing. Do not stop going to the gym. Do not stop training as hard as you can, whatever your limitations might be, whatever day it is. But do not stop, because I think, the communication that I've gotten is kind of people get down about it, and either they weren't active in the first place,
Right.
or they stop being active, and then you kind of get into it starts getting at your muscles, and you start becoming weaker and more debilitated as time goes on if you don't remain active. So I have not gotten any guidance from anyone along the way that has said stop, slow down. It's just been modify as you have to and keep going.
So if you run into a lift that you feel is kind of flaring or aggravating the process, then obviously you'll do what you have to do to change that.
Yeah, and like, so in my left hand, there's a little motor function stuff, and loss of dexterity and numbness, but I found ways to work around that, and oddly enough, a lot of stuff that you would think I wouldn't be able to do, I can do because I remember how, not because I can feel it, but because my muscles remember how. So like my hand might be numb, but some days I can bench fine. Deadlift has been the hardest to navigate,
right?
Obviously because grip is big. So I've been, some days I can pull with a mixed grip, some days I need straps. So just depending on the day, even curls, like some days I need straps for the dumbbells, some days I don't. So it's just how I feel that day, and I modify the way I attack it, and just keep pushing through with whatever I can do on whatever day.
Hell yeah! I mean, and that's what obviously MS is a lot more severe than well, not severe, more serious than your average everyday injury. But as you've been in this long enough, I mean, that's something that we always have to do, regardless of our situation, is always modify based on what our body is telling us. Is make those modifications.
Yeah, exactly. Based on I'm like I said, I'll be 47 in a month. I started going to the gym when I was 15, and obviously I've been injured, I've been hurt, and it's but that has created the mindset that you train around when you can. I mean, if you're injured, obviously you got to take a break. But something hurts Sunday, all right, I'll just modify it and keep going. And so because I've cultivated that mindset in my time in the gym, it's really no big deal, right? It's par for the course in the game that we play.
Yeah, so yeah, you're used to it enough to where it's like, okay, well, today's not the day that my hand's working correctly, so here's what I have to do to make it work. Next day is perfectly fine, next day is fine, and just you deal with those things. I mean, like I said, more severe, but shoulder injury, shoulder's not doing well today. What can I do to get my workload in still without aggravating what my issue already is?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's funny because as I talk to people about it, like, oh my God, you can't do anything. I'm so sorry. No, that's not it. And I'm not gonna give in to that. Like, oh God, I got a mess. I give up. I probably to my detriment in some cases. I don't know when or how to quit.
Right.
So it's just like, well, like. I can say I have MS and I have the diagnosis, but like you said, I'm just going to do things different in the gym when I have to, but I'm not going to stop going.
Right. You don't need to let it define who you are.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. Yeah. I have it, but it's not who I am.
Right.
Exactly. And and I've got a good group of guys at the gym. I've got a good training buddy, and we don't even talk about it. It's not an excuse.
Right.
It's not a reason to mope at the gym or something. And everybody keeps pushing, and I'm gonna compete in August, and I'm gonna compete until I can't anymore if it gets to that. And, I'm just not going to take no for an answer until I have to.
So which meet are you doing in August? Are you doing the One at Edon?
No, I'm doing the Spartan Classic with the USPA in the Springs. Yeah, I'll be out of town for that WRPF meet, so I had to jump in that USPA meet the week earlier.
Oh, okay. So yeah, yours is the week before.
Yeah, yep, it's on the 7th, and I'm looking. I've heard there's going to be a WRPF meet the week before Thanksgiving in Greeley. Or I'll look at the Snowball Open if that doesn't materialize. So, I'm making plans to compete down the road. It's
right.
We sign up for this deal and we kind of want to age out of it instead of get injured out of it. But that's not the way it always works.
But yeah, but if you can do what you want to do, and you can, when it's time to bow out, you bow out on your terms because you're ready and not because something is forcing you to.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's isn't that the goal for all of us?
Absolutely.
We want to do it. We want to do it until we make the choice to quit, not circumstances dictate that it's time to step away.
Exactly. So what numbers are you hoping for coming up here in August?
I'm not the strongest dude. That's kind of one of the things that this has had some effect on. So my strength isn't what it once was, but I'm hoping for maybe 455, 340, 550-ish, somewhere in there. Those are kind of the numbers I'm hoping for. And like I said, this is the first time I've competed in years.
Right. So,
I'm just kind of using this meet to set the base and try to improve upon that as I go. I'm just jumping into conjugate after doing block periodization forever.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to see where that takes me. Try a little bit different modality and maybe address some weaknesses and see what happens with that. But I know conjugate's a dirty word sometimes, but I'm going to try it.
Is from what I've my little bit of time running in this, but I was in the bodybuilding industry before and in that arena, and they didn't really name anything. It's just your workout. This is your workout because everything's hypertrophy. So, that's the goal. And then I started modifying because I've always liked being able to lift as heavy as I can. So I wasn't the guy who would settle, oh, how many reps can I do? Okay, well, I have a 315 squat for 15 reps. And then that's what I settled for. I'm like, well, but how much can I do? I want to know how much can I. So, I was doing you're more of a powerlifting type main movement and hypertrophy secondary movements before I even knew that I was doing it. Just because I thought I think this will be fun. This will work for me. And then as I've gotten more into the powerlifting arena and kind of how there's the conjugate, there's the periodization, there's what's his name's fifth set, and all these different names of workouts. I'm like, you use what works for you at the time it works for you, and it doesn't, who cares what everyone else is doing, or if they did that along. Oh yeah, I did that one along too. Okay, well, good for you.
Yeah.
And now,
exactly. And it's funny because I've kind of been seduced by the Dave Tates, the Matt Wennings.
Oh right, of course.
Recently, and so I've been consuming a lot of content. I'm a lead FTS guy anyway, and I think Jim Wendler is my hero, right? My first introduction to strength training was 531, which I think a lot of people can identify with.
Right.
But I started dabbling in conjugate because of Dave Tate. Now I'm eyeball deep in it, and so I've dedicated a lot of time and resources to learning about it. So it's just a different modality. It's fun so far, so that's kind of why we go to the gym, right?
Right.
When it starts becoming a grind, you gotta change it up, take a deload, maybe re-examine where you're at, but you gotta keep it fresh.
Switch your methodology a little bit. I mean, And that's why, you can use those programs. Those programs are great because, you can get into them for minimal cost because it's the same program for everyone,
Yeah,
and it just gives you that idea. So the cost is not that great and you get to learn something out of it. But, if you have a good coach, they'll manipulate your program as you go through it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly.
and are you working with a coach as well?
Not at this time. So
You're
what I actually did was I sat down and watched two Dave Tate table talks back to back. Both of them are like 2.5 hours. So I spent 5 hours one day with my notebook and my pen, and I watched all of it. It was just Dave talking about programming conjugate, talking about the main lift and the ME and the DE and the supplemental lifts and the accessories. And I bet I took more notes on that podcast than I did all through high school.
right.
Right.
Because you like that. You don't. Nobody liked high school.
Exactly right. And so I bought a couple books, and I dedicated probably a solid 10 hours to putting together my own plan.
Nice.
And so I've been running that, but my gym partner, he's got a coach, and I'm trying to convince my wife to let me spend the money, but we all know how that goes.
Oh yeah, yep. It's hard.
And, honestly, I don't know if I'm at the level where I need a coach, but it can't hurt to refine your technical proficiency. It can't hurt to have a professional look at your max effort lift or whatever and kind of pick it apart, because we can always get better. And sometimes that's the difference between a PR and not a PR.
Exactly.
If you're not technically proficient at that time.
Yeah, but you're in a position that a lot of people don't. Not a lot of people. I think a lot of people find themselves in this position where you know how to lift, the basics of programming, but you're not at a level of lifting to where like the return, I guess, would the return on what you spend wouldn't necessarily be as beneficial as, like you said, you get this meet under your belt. Maybe you get another one where you're feeling, like you're making the good progress, but you need to make quicker jumps. Something needs to happen a little bit more. Then that's when you can look at, okay, well, I need somebody to tell me what more I need to do, what I need to change to generate more power. But you're kind of in that limbo stage where you can get away with, I'm just going to program my own because I can do good enough. You can always do good enough on your own. Enough, obviously.
Yeah, and the question is, like you said, return on investment. You probably got some listeners saying this dude's hiring a coach for what's he going to take his 1,300-pound total to 1,500 pounds? But it's not. They say the comparison is the thief of joy, right?
Right.
Like I'm not going to set any records, and even if I set a record, it would be gone in a year. I'm in this to have fun and be the best version of myself that I can be. And like I told, my wife, when we talked about this, you know what? I'm going to be the strongest dude with MS.
Right.
That's what I'm going to
There you go. Yeah.
Because I don't know how many competitors have MS. So I'm going to be the strongest dude with MS. And I don't care what that looks like to anybody, because I don't have anything to prove,
Right.
I just want to be the best power lifter I can be, whether that's a 1,500-pound total, whether that's a 400-pound bench, whatever it looks like. I'm just gonna do whatever I can, as long as I can.
Right. So yeah, just to take the things that you've learned, do the best you can with those, and when you feel like you're stuck, that's when you get that out. That's when you get your outside help.
Yeah, and a lot of this too, because I'm dabbling in coaching myself, and I want to become as refined as I can be, so I can pass these things on to other people. I've got a son that's getting in the gym. I've got friends that are curious. So I want to be as good as I can be, so I can pass those things on to other people, hope that in hopes that they can achieve whatever they can achieve. So it's not just an endeavor for myself. It's
Right.
an endeavor to like Dave Tate says,
you learn,
pass on, and that's
right. It's knowledge. It's knowledge that can be generational if you if you do it the right way.
And as you know, like the powerlifting community is it's a very supportive community. It's very inclusive, and so I'm interested in spreading the word about the hobby itself and trying to involve as many people as I can. We work with the Special Olympics athletes, which is the most rewarding thing of all time.
Absolutely.
And you work with younger kids, you work with some high school kids. So you want to instill this this drive in younger kids, and like you said, make it generational, not just situational.
Right. So what you need to tell your gym curious friends, like, you know what, you won't know if you like it until you try it. How do you know you're not a meathead if you don't try meathead stuff at least once?
Exactly. And, I encourage everyone to compete at least once.
Right.
Achieve, just try it. You may not like it, it may not be for you, but once you get on the platform and everybody's cheering for you, like, it's intoxicating because everybody's for you. They're not pitting you against another competitor. They want you to do your best, and that's very unique in the sports or training world, because people are competing against each other typically. And obviously at the higher levels of powerlifting, that's the thing. But local state-based powerlifting is just not like that. It's fun.
No, and I mean, most of the time you don't even know who your competition is.
No,
on the local amateur level, I mean, you don't know who's what weight, you don't know what age they are. So everyone, and that's what really drew me in, what I've loved, and really in the people that I train when they go to the meets, is they get off the platform. If they fail a lift, every person as they walk off is like, oh, all right, better luck, you'll get it next time. Just, you're right there, whatever the case is, or hugs and high fives and whatever for successful lifts. And it could be the person they're directly competing with, and they don't care.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what I love about it, because nobody's there to put you down for whatever you've done. It's so inclusive, and it's typically, for the most part, very positive. And
right.
The experiences that I've had in the sport have all been positive. I've never really had a negative interaction, honestly, and I can't say that for every level of every sport I've competed at.
Oh no, for sure. I mean, there's the majority of competitions that, I mean, competitive nature is, I mean, it is what it is, and it seems like the only negative that you ever get that I've seen from powerlifting meets is very brief moments of shit, I could have done so much better on that.
Yeah, and it's you putting that pressure on yourself. It's not somebody else, shitting on your effort.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
And the thing that draws me to it so much is, I played a lot of football growing up, and I was an offensive lineman, and so it was my goal to beat the guy across from me every play, every game. So I had to be better than someone all the time. And at some point, it's exhausting. And now the only person I know I have to be better than is myself, and that can be exhausting, but it's a lot more rewarding in the long term for me.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Growing and when you're in a competitive team sport, it is not only do you have that person that's directly across from you, whether it's basketball, football, hockey, whatever the case is, you have your guy that's across from you that you have to beat the majority of the time, but you also have the guy behind you on your own team that you have to compete with so that you keep your spot. Whether or not you guys are teammates and you're cool off the field, there is always that competition. And there's a slight bit of animosity if you get beat out by somebody, you want it back. It's not, hey, good job, man. Oh, you did so awesome. It's all right, motherfucker, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like you said, it's like that because, I played guard, when I'd get beat if I gave up a sack or tackle for loss, somebody spiking a football off my helmet and tell me, God damn it, man, pull it together.
Right.
So, like you said, it's the guy across from you, the guy behind you. Exactly. That's precisely the case.
Yeah. So and I mean, I'm 42, so I'm not too far behind you, as far as age goes. And so I'm with you. It's like, especially the older I've got, I don't have the energy for that kind of competition anymore. It's exhausting. So I like the inclusive and the supportive nature of the powerlifting world. And as we've sponsored, some strongman stuff, the strongman world is very similar as far as the camaraderie goes.
Man, those guys are different. Guys and gals, they're a different breed, man. I watch some stuff on Instagram, and goodness gracious, that is beyond me. Like I don't have the physical capability to do things.
No,
those cats do. It's so impressive.
Yeah, we've got a handful of guys here at my gym here in Grand Junction that are big in the strongman world, and it's really fun to watch, and it's fun to kind of be a part of. But yeah, I mean, they are definitely a whole nother breed. I look at like the quote unquote strength sports. You look at your pageantry of bodybuilding, where is it a sport? I tend to say no. Some people will argue with me on that. Powerlifting is more of a sport. And strongman, there's no argument. Like, that is athleticism at its best.
Yeah, because like those competitors, like they have to be peak strength and peak cardio,
right,
and peak coordination. Like they have to operate, know where they're at in space with all these implements. It's so impressive. I think strongman's awesome. I don't have the wherewithal to keep up with all that.
No, it is definitely a view from afar, and enjoy the spectacle. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you there. Like, we're about the same age, like you said. We grew up watching that stuff on ESPN,
right.
But back then those guys were bending rebar on their heads and stuff. It's just, it takes a special kind of person to compete and stuff in that arena that just is so exhausting and so taxing.
And who comes up with these events is what I want to know.
Some sadist somewhere. And what do? We go squat 3 times.
Yeah.
Eat Sour Patch Kids for an hour. Bench 3 times. Eat Sour Patch Kids for an hour. Deadlift 3 times, and come home and have 8 Bush Lights and go to bed. That's where I'm at.
Right. Exactly. But everyone wakes up and feeling like shit the next day regardless. So,
well, I don't even have to compete to wake up and feel like shit.
Well, that's
you'll see in about 6 years. It's the hop from the bed to the floor gets a little bit longer every year.
Yeah, I'm definitely far from hopping anywhere at this point in my life.
God, you're not lying. Holy shit. But it's funny, like we say that, but we sit on the edge of our bed, we get in our nightstand, we throw the Aleve down, we hobble to the kitchen, suck down the pre-workout, and spend 10 minutes doing mobility. We just do it all over again.
Oh, I know.
Every day or 4 days a week or whatever it is, because it ends up being a labor of love. Like, I know this makes me hurt, but I just don't care.
Well, and because I've been on the other side of it. I've been super inactive and super overweight, and just I know what that feels like, and I know that that's worse because there's a whole other mental level that comes with that. On top of the physical ailments, you have the mental ailments that come with that. I'm not about it. I'm done with that. So it's like one way or another, I'll deal with the physical pain. That's easy.
Yeah. Well, and in the last couple of years, I've dropped about 70 pounds, and I went from the same. That's kind of why I got out of powerlifting, because I just got fat and lazy. And like, it is like, you feel bad about yourself, but you don't do anything because you feel bad about yourself, because you feel
Right.
so bad about yourself, and then you eat a box of lemon heads and drink 6 Cokes, and there you are on the couch watching American Dad for the rest of the day.
Yep. Feeling like shit.
Yeah,
Knowing
you feel like shit because you feel like shit.
Yep. And you wake up and start all over.
Yeah, but like once you make that commitment, I'll take it every day. I'll take a little bit of back tightness every day over that misery.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100% of the time. That's you once you experience that, and once you know better, there's no going back. And so,
and like guys that fish, they say good day fishing is better than a bad day fishing is better than a good day working. For guys like us, it's the same thing at the gym. Like a bad session is better than the best day not doing anything.
Right. Yep. Still better than the best day on the couch watching TV.
Unless it's football season.
Well,
I might have to take,
that's just your off day of training, though.
Yeah, well, or I'm a college football guy, so you get to the gym.
There you go.
Before game day starts, and then you're done and you're on the couch, and you call that recovery. Right?
There you go. Yeah, that's right.
You're refeeding all day on the tortilla rolls and the little smokies.
That's right. I mean, you have to give your body the fuel it needs to regenerate.
Absolutely. Yep. And that's how I justify it. And when I'm begging my wife to make spinach dip, I just tell her, babe, this helps me perform at my optimal levels.
This is fuel for performance.
And what do they say? Like the meme, like this, whether you like it or not, this is what peak performance looks like. That's me in my recliner with a pile of tortilla rolls and a can of Coke.
Yes, you know what? When it comes to that peak training, calories are calories sometimes.
Man. So, I'm not. I don't have a huge calorie load, but it's not uncommon for me to eat between 44 and 4,800 calories. And man, that's a lot of food. Sometimes I just got to go to McDonald's and get a Coke just to get it.
Yes.
I'm not getting that from Jasmine Rice and
boneless, skinless chicken breast is not. That's a lot.
No, man. I'm a Nebraska kid, so we do a lot of beef around here. So I'm not on the chicken train myself, but yeah, a lot of beef, and I'll tell you what, 400 grams of ground beef a day that'll wear you out.
Yeah, at that point you just get tired of chewing, so you gotta throw in some subpar nutritional, food substance every once in a while. Well,
but however, I'm going to take a little issue with that because Hostess snowballs are actually the absolute peak of snacks. Like there's no better snack, and I will die on that hill that Hostess snowballs are making me the man I am today.
Well, I won't hate on snowballs. I don't have them very often, but I'm not a fan of those. I will say.
See, I probably eat more than I should, but let's just keep that between you, me, and who's listening. That secret needs to stay within the circle.
Yeah, I know. There's it's funny in this. Everyone's got their thing. You've got snowballs. I'm big on pretty much any candy that is not like chocolate. So I call all my pectin-based candies. I'm a huge fan of. But my guilty pleasure is circus peanuts, which most people say they absolutely hate.
You are alone, sir.
But
I don't know anybody that likes circus peanuts.
But what's funny about that is anytime you go to the store to buy them, they're almost always out. And they're like, man, people buy these things all the time. Now I think they're probably 80-year-old men, but somebody else is buying it besides me.
Holy damn!
It might.
I didn't even know that was still a thing.
It might. It might just be me and a bunch of old ranchers, but you know, there's a group of us.
You guys should have like a little support group or like a Facebook group to talk about
Circus Peanut support group.
Yeah.
The best brands because they don't all taste the same.
Are there more than one brand?
Yeah, there's different companies that make them.
Huh.
See?
Oh, damn.
So you learn something new every day.
I did. Honestly, like I'm gonna try them. I'm gonna try. Like I haven't had circus peanuts. It's funny that you say old rancher because my grandfather, I grew up on a ranch and he had circus peanuts and lemon drops.
Oh yeah.
That's what we had in the ranch. Right? So I bet I haven't had circus peanuts in
lemon drops
38 years.
Oh man.
But I'm gonna try them.
Give them another shot and just kind of open mind, see what you think, and no harm, no foul.
Yeah, if I don't like him, I'll pawn him off on my grandson and let him run wild with them.
There you go.
Yeah, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, and then then there's also the Pop-Tart group of people, Pop-Tart lifters.
I'm a Pop-Tart guy. I'm a brown sugar, cinnamon, or confetti cake Pop-Tart guy.
Confetti cake, huh? Okay.
Yeah, a couple bags of the confetti cake Pop-Tart bites and maybe a protein shake, because I'm dogmatic about the anabolic window, and I don't care whether it's wrong or not. I still do it. So
that's when it's been ingrained in you, you feel dirty not doing it.
You do, it's funny. Like I can listen to guys like Mike Israel or Lane Norton say, "Oh, it's bullshit. It doesn't make any difference." But that's not gonna stop me from coming home and making sure I get that food in within the hour after I get done training, because I've only been doing it for 30 years.
Right. In my research that I've done, because I was huge into it, I'm like, 30, 45 minutes afterwards, you better make sure you get that protein in. And I started doing more research. I'm like, oh man, that is all BS. But it never fails. Within 30 to 45 minutes, I'm either eating something or I'm drinking a protein shake. Just in case.
Yep.
Just in case.
Yeah. Because exactly, like if it doesn't hurt, then it helps.
Right. That is true. So you might as well just throw it down, call it a day.
Exactly. And who's not hungry after squatting 8 sets of 3 or whatever the case may be? Like everybody's hungry after doing that shit. So
yep. That's why most of us eat in the middle of that. We eat after the squats before we finish the rest of the workout.
And that's where the Sour Patch
That's
Kids
right. Yeah. The gummy worms, Sour Patch Kids. Yeah. This place is loaded with those things.
Oh, paradise.
All right, man. Well, I'll wrap this up. I appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, man. This was great. Thanks for having me. I hope some people listen and understand that physical limitations aren't going to define them, and there's no reason to not go to the gym.
Right. We talked about the Special Olympics right before you came on, so there's really no reason. I mean, whether you have MS, whether you have any other physical injuries, things that keep you from doing it, whether you have something mentally that's kind of holding you back. I mean, that's all more reasons to go work out. Go lift. It helps your physical. It helps your mental. It keeps us from killing people. Basically, is what it comes down to.
You're not wrong.
So give those.
I appreciate the time, man.
Of course, yeah. Give those circus peanuts a try and let me know what you think.
No problem. I'll preach the word if they're any good.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for coming on.
All right, man. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was sweet. I thought that was good. Hopefully everyone else enjoyed that as well. For a last minute thing, especially, I thought that turned out good. So I want to thank Tim for coming on, talking to us about MS. And it's not always something that is easy to talk about, especially when it's in the beginning stages of everything. I know it can be really tough to be out there. So I always appreciate people who are willing to discuss, any of those things that come up in their lives that can be a struggle and how they're pushing through, because that just helps the rest of us realize that we need to suck it up and quit bitching about our situations and see that not that it could be worse, it could be different. Every situation we're in, every situation I've been in, I wouldn't want to trade it for somebody else's, regardless of how bad it is. So everyone's got a different situation, and none of them are a reason for us to skip out and to avoid training. And like I said at the very end there, it's just all the more reason that we should make sure you get out there, make sure you get your lifts in, make sure you get yourself feeling good physically, mentally, and all that fun stuff. So once again, thank everyone for joining us. Make sure you go to generalleathercraft.com, check out our friends there, and get your customized Pioneer lifting belt or one of their stock belts as well. And check out many of their other options that they have there. maxbarbell.com, visit them. You can check out their shoes, singlets. They have other lifting gear as well. Just kind of peruse around that website. Visit us at liftingugly.com, at lifting_ugly on Instagram. One thing I forgot. Let me jump on real quick. Face of the week I didn't put up because I only had one submission. So that goes to Jesse, our friend Jesse at JC Powerlifting. Submitted this one. And not only that, he got extra bonus points for wearing a Lifting Ugly shirt. So the Lifting Ugly shirt plus the face plus the fact that he was the only one that submitted means he's the winner this week. So congratulations, Jesse. For anyone else who would like to submit, make sure you do so at our Instagram. Again, at lifting_ugly. Subscribe, patreon.com/liftingugly. Take a look at the different tiers that you can join. And make sure you visit liftingugly.com, where you can check out all the gear that we have available there, plus online coaching that is available and one-time donations that can be made. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us for episode 35 of the Lifting Ugly podcast. We will see you next time.